In this video, we're going to talk about key tracking, velocity tracking, and chain selection within instrument racks. So here I have this instrument rack I made earlier with analog, wavetable, operator, and this jarble disto bass, which is a preset from Simpler. And if I click on the word key here, you'll see a key zone selector has popped up. And what I can do with this is I can adjust these green bars to split my MIDI controller into zones. And in this way, I can make it so that the instrument that is triggered depends on which note I play. So now, if I play this note, only this wavetable is triggered. If I go up an octave, only this operator is triggered. Up a couple more octaves, and this Simpler preset is triggered. If I go all the way down, this analog is triggered. So you can use the key zone editor to split your MIDI keyboard between the instruments. Now I'll go ahead and extend those back to the full range so that no matter what key I press, I will play all four instruments. If I click the Vel button, I'm in the Velocity Zone editor. This is where I can split these instruments into different velocity zones. So now, if I press a key very softly, all I will get is the jarble disto bass. If I press it harder, I'll get a mix of all the instruments. You can restrict velocity zones to create some interesting textures, especially if you edit velocities manually in your MIDI editor. You may notice some small skinny lines above the main velocity zone selectors. These are sort of like a fade tool so that you can ease into a sound or a preset, or you can ease out of a sound. Now, at this velocity level, analog will play, but it will play very softly. And as you press your MIDI controller with increasing velocity, your sound will get louder in analog. Key zone editing and velocity zone editing might seem like doing too much, but this is how professional sound designers create unique and interesting textures. If we go to the chain button, you'll see the chain selector window. If I go to the Altergarten instrument, you'll see that the chain selector is active here. So if the chain selector is, for instance, at 16, you'll hear the second instance of Simpler and only a bit of the third instance of Simpler. The texture thickens as you go up the chain, and then as you get higher, the second instance of Simpler fades out and the third instance of Simpler comes in. This chain is controlled, as you can see, by a macro. So if I press a key and then move the spectral mix knob, it triggers sounds in different ways. That's pretty neat. If you don't want to see the key zone, velocity zone, or chain selector editors, you can press the hide button.